Hello, superhumans. I'm Sally, and we are reviewing RJ Spina, who is on the Brian Scott YouTube channel. I will leave the link for the full video in the description box below. Now, he wrote a book, You Can Heal Anything, and he talks about it in this video. Now, what is surprising about his story is that he became paraplegic. I believe that is complete paralysis from the waist down. And he tells you how he got there and how doctors told him he would never walk again. And he made a statement, I will walk within 100 days. It is the most fascinating story. But there are many ways to get to healing. You could do QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis, and accomplish the same thing. You could go to a multi-dimensional healer, as such as myself, and also work to get those results. There is a commonality. There is a law. You can do this yourself. You don't need to hire somebody. But there are laws of the universe that you will have to apply, these basic principles that he talks about in his book. Now, he also has seminars that are quite beneficial. And of course, it can become overwhelming. If you feel that you cannot do it alone, then reach out to a QHHT practitioner, a body code practitioner, or a multidimensional healer such as myself, or somebody like me that can help you. You don't have to suffer. If you apply certain methods, understand certain laws about how healing actually takes place, you can overcome anything. And I mean anything. So, yeah, we can deep dive into all this because let me tell you what, the rabbit hole gets really deep here. So I'm going to review just this section. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but coming from a perspective of a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner and quantum dimensional healer perspective, I will give you what I have learned when working with my own clients. And you can find out what they're saying by visiting my website, sallyknott.com, link in the video below. Check out the testimonials. I love real live testimonials. So without further ado, let me get this started. And we're just going to review just a little bit of this, and then we'll talk about it and what you can do to start your journey on transforming your life, no matter what it is you want to do. I promise you, if you apply what he's teaching, what we're all trying to teach, your life will be changed for the better. Here we go.
There's a structural problem with the healthcare industry in general, and that is that you got the problem. They're working from a place where they have the problem, and then they're just trying to fix the problem, and so it's always at a very limited perspective. And people go to the doctor. The doctor's going to see the problem, and he's going to try to figure out some way to just stop the.
This is Brian Scott, and he's the one with the channel with over 400,000 followers. So yeah, check him out. If you love the rabbit holes, you're gonna love this guy. So hold on, here he comes.
The effects of what's going on, not the actual cause, and it's always about just reducing and allaying the effect of the problem. There's some good doctors out there that try, but overall the structure is set up so, I have an inflammation. Well, let's just try to get rid of the inflammation, not even trying to figure out what the cause of the inflammation is, right?
You got it. I mean, that's one of the primary issues. It's part of why humanity has lost touch with self-healing, because the approach is backwards. So and let's look at it this way too, Brian. When I say healing, I bet almost everyone thinks of physical healing when I say healing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Physicality is the last place the imbalance shows up. So in other words, we have to treat the etheric body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the astral body, because this is where the disharmony germinates from and then comes down frequentially and manifests itself within the body. So what we do in terms of Western medicine we're treating just where the symptoms have shown up. We're not, just like you said, we're not treating the cause, which is why Western medicine doesn't talk about the C word, which is cure. They just treat symptoms. I'm not interested in just treating symptoms. When we work with ourselves optimally, what we'll do is we go to the area of our higher mind where form and function is actually created. Now, when you go to where form and function of the vehicle, when you go to where form and function is created, the changes that you make there eventually travel down frequentially and then show up in the physical form. I mean, how else do you unparalyze yourself? So you have to go to the form and function. And I'm going to actually walk people through the process of getting to that state of consciousness and then actually making the alterations there. And then eventually it shows up in the physical body. And the second thing about that is that we believe in the authenticity of a diagnosis. That makes it real. That makes it solid. That makes it impossible to overcome. That's very important to understand. And the other aspect of that is, if we agree and start to take physical things, whether it's pills, tinctures, antibiotics, anything like that, what we're saying is we are agreeing that matter has dominion over spirit. And it does not. It absolutely does not. So we have to do everything in reverse. We have to forget everything that we think we know. We have to let go of all these theoretical assumptions. We have to stop being a consumer of other people's opinions and start realizing the truth that we are an immortal, limitless creator. And when we have the right process to go to the levels of form and function and to deprogram and delete these things, there is absolutely no limitations in terms of what we can do. And that's exactly what we're going to literally tangibly experience when we do the workshop.
I'd like to sidestep, because you brought up something very fascinating and it helped me understand my own healing and others. You mentioned the different bodies that we're aware of, our physical body, but let's talk about those other bodies just for a second so we can identify those. There are these subtle bodies that we have, and some people might not understand this concept. There's an astral. So how many bodies do we actually have, and how do they work?
Yeah, so think of the chakras. Right. And without
Right.
us getting lost in all this information, but think of each chakra and there are 7 bodies of energy: celestial body, etheric body, emotional body, mental body, astral body, physical body. So there's all these different levels. So just here's the image that I use. Okay. You're old enough like me. You remember a slinky. Okay. So let's go back with the top of the steps, where we're going to put the slinky at the top of the steps, and then we kind of push it and it goes down the steps. Okay. So the top of the steps, Brian, is the creator consciousness level of where form and function is put together. Okay. So that is our blueprint of perfect health. Our blueprint of perfect health, where form and function is put together. Now, each time that slinky goes down one step, it's dropping down frequentially, and there is another blueprint that is translated from the original blueprint of perfect health. So each time we come down to the celestial, to the etheric, to the astral, to the mental, as the slinky's coming down the stairs, it's another blueprint. It's another translation of the original form. And this is where we misprogram ourselves through deep-rooted misperceptions, misunderstandings, and misidentifications. And then once we have that in any one of those bodies, that blueprint that's been misprogrammed is now translated one more step down as the slinky comes down. And now we have a blueprint that's off, that's incorrect, that carries with it ill health or disharmony. And that keeps getting translated till we get to the physical body. And then we have the physical translation of our own misprogramming that we have done to ourselves through the misperceptions, misunderstandings, and misidentifications. Now, the further that we go up in our consciousness, and we're able to go up these frequential steps, and the further you go up to form and function is where you can change anything, because that's what informs the celestial, the etheric, the mental, the astral, the physical, everything. So when you go that way, when you work that way, there's nothing that you can't do. If you're just addressing.
And I'm going to stop it right there. So the full video will be in a link in the description box below. And I encourage you to go watch it. There's a couple of really major points that, as a QHHT practitioner and multidimensional healer, I have run into in my own practice. There are two, I've talked about it in the past, that come to mind when he's talking about this. I've had two people with allergies come to me. One was a little boy who had garlic allergies. You'll hear his mother talk about our healing results on the website sallyknott.com. And under testimonials, there's a video, and she went to 0 to 7 sales. That's what the video is titled. But we also talk about how we cleared her son's allergies. Also, there was another woman who had what they call milk legs. I didn't even know what milk legs were. When all of a sudden, when she showed me her legs, they were swollen and they were itchy and purple. And she lifted her pant legs to reveal how bad and miserable she felt. I said, "Oh my goodness, you have milk allergies," and in both cases, they both said, "No, we have been tested by the doctor and we do not have this thing that you're saying." The little boy, I said he had garlic allergies. This woman, I said, "You have milk allergies." And in both cases, and especially the mom, Amanda, will tell you in that testimonial, he was tested the little boy was tested for garlic, all kinds of allergies. It didn't show itself. And also the woman who had milk legs, which is the old-timey term from many years ago, the allergy toward the dairy products. She had been tested for allergies for dairy, and it came back negative. What do you do? What do you do when you go to Western medicine? They go through these tests, they tell you it's not there, and yet you are presenting with the symptoms. In their particular case, and what RJ is referring to here, you have to go into the higher realms in order to find it. Now, with both of them, those allergies were not in the physical body, but they were in the astral body. Going through and clearing the astral body is what made the biggest difference. And the beautiful thing about this 8-year-old little boy who had eczema so bad, the kids were making fun of him at school. He came home one day and said, "Mom, I love my skin." Now that's why I get up every day, is because when you can create that type of healing for somebody, especially a child, that is the most beautiful feeling in the world, when you've eased suffering for somebody else. So not only can he now wear clothes where he can, shorts and short sleeves during the summer and reveal his skin and not be ashamed, because his skin is now normal. He can eat garlic. And also the woman who had milk legs, we cleared the dairy allergies out of the astral area, and she's able to eat dairy without issues. Can you do this with everybody? That all depends on where everyone's soul's journey is. And as RJ Spina will tell you, and anybody who's responsible, even though I cleared out these energies and they had help doing it, the people that we worked with also participate in the process. Now, the little boy, that's a little bit different story. He had no idea I was working with him energetically. I got permission from mom. I was hired by mom to work with her 8-year-old and tapping into the higher self, asking the higher self, that very higher aspect, the celestial person, if you will, the very, very top. Are there any associated imbalances causing XYZ? We get those cleared out. The little boy did not know. He just knew one day his skin was clear and he could eat garlic again, and he could be a normal now teenage boy. So if you are trying to heal something yourself and you are not having much success because you're looking for the symptoms in the physical body, pick up the book or hire somebody like me and start exploring the multidimensional aspects of yourself. So, in quantum healing hypnosis technique, we are aware of the different bodies that you have. For us, we go with the atmic or celestial body. Let me grab my notes because as soon as I tell you that, I will get it wrong and I don't want to do that. All right. The atmic, ATMIC, or divine or celestial body is at the top. So when you are meditating, you can ask the question, is my atmic body happy? You might get yes. Is my spiritual body happy? You might get yes. Is my mental body happy? Now, the mental body is divided into two sections. You have the higher and lower minds. The lower mind is where you are engaging in day-to-day activities, going through your logical steps of your day, that very rooted area. Whereas the higher mind is the area where the subconscious mind lives. Then you have the astral or emotional body. That is the area where the allergies were kept. So you go through and you ask, is each of these bodies happy? If the body is unhappy, then you would have to go through the process of clearing it out. Now, language is going to be extremely important for you. If you don't get the language correct, you're probably not going to have much success. So you will have to be very mindful of the language that you're using. As a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner, one word can make a difference in the meaning of how the higher mind receives the information. So he talks about that, how with each area that comes down, with each blueprint, and each one can become slightly corrupted. And as it goes lower to the etheric body and then to the physical body, then what is left is a corruption in the pattern or the blueprint, if you will. So there's a lot of areas to take a look at. But if you can go into the higher areas and if you want to do this yourself, go ahead. Click on RJ Spina, get the book. You can heal anything. Attend his seminars, and he can walk you through it. Learning curves can be a bit of a challenge. So if you need help, reach out to me or somebody like me. The big thing is, what is really beautiful is that you don't have to suffer. You can choose to get out of where you are and have a much richer, happier, pain-free life. So pay attention to what you are believing. Are you believing somebody else's decision that that you are this or that? So the reason I sort of paused is because before I end this, I do want to tell you my own personal story. And I've said this before in other prior videos, but if you've not seen those, I have my medicines right here. My thyroid many years ago shut down, and I was taking Synthroid for 20 years. And I needed that medication, and it was glad I had it because it made me feel so much better. And for those who have thyroid issues and you're feeling lethargic, you're feeling cold and whatnot, you want to go the traditional route. Have your thyroid check and work with your doctor. I was working with my doctor, and my thyroid activated again through energy healing. And what is so beautiful, I have not had a refill in 5 years. And my blood work is coming back completely normal. So when RJ talks about you can heal yourself, you absolutely can. But listen, it comes down to there is a way to do it correctly. There are certain laws of the universe that you will have to follow, that you will need to put into practice for it to work fully. And oftentimes it's difficult to do that because it can take a ninja mind. And in fact, today I was working with another client with arthritis, and she was wondering if she should have a hip replacement. And so she was trying to intuit it. And so she was working with her pendulum. And the question, let me see if I get this right. The question was, and you know who you are. If I get this wrong, I'm sorry. All right. So what she was saying was to the pendulum, should I get a hip replacement? And that's where I actually had to stop her, because also you got to get the manifesting right. Because like RJ says, there is no past, there is no future, there is now. You have to be in the now. Should I get? Well, one, that's putting your sovereignty into something else, having something else tell you what to do. So if you're looking to say, should I get a new house? Should I get a new car? Should I get, this health thing? You're not asking the question in the right way. Excuse me. The proper way to ask that would be, is it in my best and highest good to get fill in the blank? Now, once she did it that way, she got an answer that made sense to her. And that is the direction she will most likely go. Because you must understand, you are sovereign beings. You have the power within you to create whatever life you desire. You are not a victim, and that's because you live in the now. And when you master the now, there is nothing on the extenuating circumstances that can take you down, because you have mastered it. You are living in what we call the God vibe. The thing that's most important too to add to this video, and it's important from a QHHT perspective, one of the things that we will tell you, and in fact Julia Cannon has said on prior videos, is that fear is the thing that will cause you to be sick, will cause you to come out of alignment, will distort the blueprint energetic field from the top all the way to the bottom. So fear and love do not coexist. And if you are down on the lower planes where you can experience fear, it's not that fear is a bad thing. Fear, if you fear that you're going to be eaten by the bear in the woods, that's a good thing if the bear is chasing you and you know you need to get away to survive, right? That's an entirely different type of fear. But you also don't want to live every day that you can't get out of bed because you're afraid the bear is on the other side of your bedroom door. Now that's where fear begins to rule and take over. And we distort that. And as we begin to distort our thoughts and we feel those emotions, we can distort those too, then that begins to affect our health. That's where we get out of alignment. So you don't want to suppress the emotions. You want to lean into them, find out where they're coming from, and say, what can I learn from feeling this emotion? And so once you understand that the fear is there's nothing there, that it's this illusion created for your knowledge, expansion, and spiritual growth, once you can get into that understanding, then you can allow that fear to dissipate, go away, and then you can move forward. Let me give you another thing. I had another gal that came to me for QHHT. Same situation. She had an illness. And as she went through her QHHT experience, we went to the source. Take me to where you had this experience that created this imbalance within you. And she took me to a prior lifetime. She was a Native American boy who was being chased through the woods by a man, a white man on a horse, who was bent on killing this child. And as it turned out, it was during pre-colonial period on the East Coast. So I said, let's put you into your safe God bubble and let's reduce this person to a child, the person that's chasing you as a child. And then I want you to imagine yourself growing up and being the adult in the situation. You stop, you tell him to get off the horse, and you demand, why is he chasing you? And then that all took place in the mind. We created a new narrative through our session. And what she got was the man, now the little boy, was chasing him, now her, through the woods because he was fearful that that little boy would grow up and kill his family. Well, as an adult talking to a child, they made friends, they made peace, and they gave each other hugs. And as soon as they did that, the fear lifted from her. Because whether or not it's a actual past life or it's a narrative that the subconscious mind created to deal with a particular tragedy in her own life, it doesn't matter so long as the fear was rationalized, addressed, and healed with love. Her illness disappeared. And that's the beautiful thing about what RJ is telling you. So it is getting into the higher mind. And look, I understand it is not easy for a lot of people to get into the meditative state. I am not a meditator. Although people tell me that, yeah, all this stuff comes to you in a meditative state, they're likely right. During those times as I'm falling asleep, I get these epiphanies. If I'm in the shower, I get these epiphanies. That's what it's all about. It's when you get into that deep, relaxed state and you're not holding on to the fears, that information begins to come through. Now, with the gal that I worked with yesterday, she's trying to connect with her higher self, but she lives in overwhelmed feelings. Well, that's a fear. The more overwhelmed, the more fear you have, the thicker it is, the harder it is to get into the higher realms, because fear is a barrier. It's an illusion, a barrier to the frequency of love. And that love frequency, or what we call the God vibe, is where all that magic takes place. All the healing, all that righting of imbalances, all takes place in those higher realms. And if you can get those bodies in balance, those higher celestial bodies, the etheric or astral body, emotional body, all those bodies, if you can get those balanced, your body will right itself. This is how this whole thing's work. And you don't have to hire somebody. You can learn how to do it yourself. I went through training for it, and I went through a lot of training for it. But even just going through the training for it, you also have to be aware every moment of every day of what's going on, because you can easily and most subtly begin to slip out of it. And then you find yourself a hamster in the wheel, recreating old baggage. So that's sort of the things that you need to be mindful of as you're going through your self-healing process. And again, if it's too much or a little bit overwhelming, reach out to me or somebody like me and we'll help you out. If you want more information, please reach out to sallyknop.com. Please give this a thumbs up. because it does help the algorithm so other people can get the benefits of listening to Aaron Epke, Dolores Cannon, and RJ Spina, and a few others that we're going to be bringing up. And we are not done. We're going to go down to future rabbit holes in later videos. So please subscribe so we can talk about more woo in future times. Take care for now. I look forward to seeing you soon.